Okay, one of the most challenging decisions that we have to make as business owners is how much to charge for our time and our expertise. What if people complain that you're overpriced, or even worse, they walk away completely, they don't call you back, and move on to the next company on Google? But the answer isn't swinging to the other extreme and charging a price so cheap that you won't make any money doing the job. I talk about it all the time on the channel because pricing and how to quote jobs is one of the biggest, actually it's the biggest question that I get. And the bottom line is you can't do quality work for others if you can't keep yourself in business. And charging a fair price is what allows you to create a long-term value for your customers that will keep them coming back year after year. So we're going to talk about 4 things to keep in mind to become more comfortable charging what you're worth. Okay, number 1 is underpricing sends a really bad signal, right? It's just bad optics. We all know what happens if you're way overpriced. You lose the deal, you lose the job. But underpricing can be just as bad for your business. When I first started, I didn't charge enough because I was afraid to. I didn't know what value we actually offered to our customers, and I've said it before, I left a ton of money on the table, and as a result, that's one of the main reasons that I talk about this all of the time, because I don't want you to make the same mistake that I did. But being underpriced is a lesson that I unfortunately had to learn the hard way. At that time, back in the olden days, we were doing almost all commercial work, right? Lots of restaurants, and we had a really big chain of gas stations. They had 15 or 16 locations at the time, and I had met a guy at a local networking event who ran another chain of gas stations, convenience stores, even bigger than the one that we were already servicing. So we got to talking, and I mentioned that we were doing the cleaning for his competitor, who is known to have the cleanest stores, the cleanest restrooms, immaculate landscaping, just a really high-end look and feel to these places. So he asked me to give him a quote on his locations. So of course I was really excited. I went out, I looked at them, and then I wrote up a proposal and I sent it over. And I didn't hear anything back. I followed up, nothing. So I called him again, and he finally called me back and said that they were going to stick with the company that they were using, despite the fact that he had told me previously that they weren't 100% happy with them. So I asked him why, and he asked if he could be brutally honest with me. So obviously, when somebody says that, you get a little nervous, but I said, yeah, of course. And he told me that he was shocked at how low our price was, and said that because he knew who we were working for now, the other company, the high-end place, he was expecting our pricing to be comparable or even more expensive than his current guys. And he said he would be even willing probably to pay us more because how I presented myself and, like I'd said, who we were currently working for. But he said that the price was so low that maybe we weren't ready to take on more volume and to give him a call back in like 6 months. I was shocked. I never thought I would lose work for being too cheap. Now, I did get aggressive on this because I wanted the job. I was young, I was dumb, I had a bunch of employees who I wanted to keep busy, and bottom line, I wanted that work. And now I know, looking back, it was a horrible business decision to go in that cheap, and it probably would have been break-even business at best, and that's just not how you want to run your business, right? We don't quote just to stay busy, we quote to make a profit. But it got me thinking back then about my pricing strategy, and I wondered if my low pricing had scared other potential customers away, thinking that I was inexperienced or I was just a beginner and I didn't know what I was doing. Price is often a proxy for quality, and when you put yourself at the low end of the spectrum, it signals that you're unsure of your value, or the value just isn't there, and that's what the customer sees. Either way, it can throw up red flags to these potential customers, and they're probably just going to walk away. Okay, number 2 is develop a network of trusted peers, okay? These folks that are making the purchasing decisions usually aren't going to give you a ton of feedback on pricing or target ranges, really no indication of their budget, and this is because they possess an informational advantage when they're getting prices, right? They play it close to the vest. But there are some occasions where you can get this information, but those are far and few between. They're great when it happens, but that takes developing rapport, forming a relationship, and then getting all that information, pulling it out from those buyers or those purchasers. But if you don't know what you're doing, right? You don't know what the given rate is, you don't know what the market is for any given surface, say a 3-story parking garage, and say it's $20,000 and you underbid it by $5,000. Now the purchasing agent, they're happy, right? You are too. You got the number that you thought was going to make you happy. They saved some money, but what if you find out later that you're earning less than others? Then that's a big disappointment. So the best way to keep this from happening is to develop a trusted peer network that can provide you with honest information about going rates and terms, things like that, right? And you might feel nervous about raising your prices, but if you discover that everyone else is getting $20,000 for that same type of job, it's a lot easier for you to ask for that same price. And one of the best ways to form relationships like that is meet guys in your market. Find other businesses that you can connect with. You can do that that online. You can do it in the inner circle. You can also come to WashCon 2023. And you're not only going to be surrounded by like-minded professionals that have the same goals, the same aspirations, the same drive as you do, but you're going to be spending either 1 or 2 days with the core four, Justin Rogers, Aaron Parker, Cody Yarborough, and myself, as we dive deep into everything needed to help your business grow, to scale. Definitely check out washconlive.com. We've got limited seats. It's on February 10th and 11th in Roanoke, Alabama at Southeast Softwash headquarters. So get your tickets today. The third thing is understanding that you can't think your way into being comfortable asking for more money. Okay, you have to act on that. And when I first started, I was cheap. I admit it. I didn't know any better, but I should have. I should have been smarter, but I was fighting with that mentality that I was only offering pressure washing, and it wasn't of huge value. I was charging like $150, $200 for a 1,500 square foot house. I wasn't the guy out there on the ground doing the work, so I just saw it as easy money, but quickly realized that I couldn't run a business like that, or at least a profitable business. I've also talked to a bunch of guys that are not charging enough because, like myself, they didn't see their value. They didn't see the value in what they were offering. They were afraid to ask for higher prices, maybe even embarrassed to ask for higher prices. And what happens is when you're continually out there busting your ass hour after hour, day after day, week after week, month after month, so on and so forth, you're not making good money. You're eventually going to get very frustrated and probably pretty burned out. And that is when you need to raise your prices to avoid that burnout, to avoid quitting, right? Because a lot of guys just hang it up. So why waste all that time, all that energy, providing all that value and not being compensated for it? It just doesn't make sense. So how do you get comfortable asking for more money, for quoting higher prices? At a really tactical level, it's just practice. Somebody once said to me, your price should be fear plus 10%. Now I love that. It's like, what's the level you're comfortable saying? $1,000? All right, add 10%. It's $1,100. Bottom line, don't be scared. Know your value and charge accordingly. So the last thing is slowly testing market demand. Most everyone watching this has a business model that entails working for multiple customers. It's what we do. And because of this, you have more flexibility to experiment with your pricing, steadily and incrementally increasing your prices until you feel you're earning what you deserve. And yeah, I still have a few customers that are paying me less than what I would charge now because they were grandfathered in after years of working with them, right? But for all new customers, the next time you quote them, it's $850, and then the next time it's $1,000. And when you hit a level where customers start to resist, you can consider freezing or reducing your prices until you've built up a customer base where it doesn't really matter, where you've increased your reputation in some other way that justifies a higher price. We all know figuring out what to charge can be a pretty stressful decision, especially when you're first starting out. It can have a direct impact on your ability to get new customers, as well as how much money you're going to put in your pocket at the end of the day. And like I had mentioned, there is a psychology involved as well. My own insecurity prevented me from asking for more money early on. So please take away from this video that you need to raise your prices. Do not be ashamed. This is a business. This is not a charity. We are in this to make money. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out WashCon. There is a link below. It is washconlive.com, and we look forward to seeing you guys over in Roanoke at Southeast Softwash. And as always, go download Quote IQ. It is the best tool you can use for your business.